Liberal sanctuary cities are so bad that even migrants want out. Asylum seekers say Chicago's so unpleasant that they're heading down south for the winter, with some even fleeing back to their home countries. One Venezuelan family told the Chicago Tribune that after several months of homelessness, lack of jobs, and limited access to better education, they realized, quote, the American dream doesn't exist anymore. Meanwhile, migrants in NYC are straight up rebelling against a new tent city in Brooklyn. Dozens of families arrived at the housing site and immediately wanted no part of it, claiming it's too far from jobs and schools. New York Governor Kathy Hochul says the city has no choice.
We are at capacity. We have 65,000 people being housed right now. They have been accommodated in many times hotel rooms in New York City for long periods of time. That's not sustainable. And so the option is to say, if you want to take advantage of public supported housing and shelter for now, this is your option.
All right, Dana, maybe this is a genius strategy.
Yes.
Liberal mayors got together and said, you want to get migrants to leave, make our cities as unlivable as possible. And they're really good at it.
They're succeeding.
Yes.
Wow, have you seen the litter out there today? I mean, who would have given these migrants the false sense that it was so easy to come to America and just parachute right in and have everything that you possibly need? Oh, that would have been during the 2020 election when the Democrats promised free health care.
Yeah.
And also there you have the problem of the coyotes who are telling them, yes, it's going to be great. Everything's going to be fine. You might even have people here, family members saying, yeah, just come. It'll be great. Guess what? It's not so great. I do find it galling that people who are receiving charity at a hotel, they're asked to go to another location. They're like, yeah, no, we're good. We're going back to the hotel. How is that allowed? How is that an option? I don't understand that. Also, remember when Kamala Harris and Vice President and Joe Biden said, don't come. That was the extent of their message. I hope that Iran listens more to the don't than the immigrants did. They came with an expectation of luxury, and they crumpled at the first cold snap. It gets real cold in Chicago.
Yeah.
If they go home, I wish them the best. That might be the best option. But one of the problems is that when they get here, then Catholic Charities, for example, or any of the NGOs are taking money from the government, and they're sending them to Texas, right? And then those Texas are sending to Chicago. Then Chicago's sending them back to Venezuela. Then there's more. And so it's like never ending until somebody comes in and cuts it off.
Yeah, you know, Jessica, we've been told for forever that these are people in desperate situations. They need to get away, but then they realize, this ain't so bad. I'm going back, or this ain't so good. So we knew that we were being lied to, that they were just coming here for the freebies and the work.
I'm not sure about freebies for everyone. I think most people have an interest in the work. And I see it every day when I ride on the subway. And there was a cover story of New York Mag talking about the women who are selling candy on the trains, carrying their kids around with them. They do want to work. Some of them, of course, not. And I remember we talked about this a few months ago. And Dana, you were commenting that your parents were staying in a hotel that you basically couldn't get up to the door of because there were migrants outside. Yeah. And I said that what upsets me about this is someone who's supportive of the notion of sanctuary cities and wants people to get this chance is they're making a mockery out of people like me, right, who advocate for them to be able to come here.
That's our job.
Everyone is doing it to me. I am the ultimate victim of all of this. But I think also what's happening is they're looking at previous generations who were able to get jobs here. And a lot of that was because there were much less of them, right? It's just too many people that are coming in. There are jobs that are available. Americans are kind-hearted people who want to employ folks, who want to work hard, who want to go out and get a Social Security number and pay taxes. But when there are hundreds of thousands, it's really hard to get that done. And this is on Joe Biden. You said last week that Brandon Johnson, the mayor of Chicago, went down to the White House and he didn't get near what he asked for. And this is a federal problem that's becoming a state and local problem, and that's on the federal government to make sure that there's enough housing for this. But migrants are also pushing homeless people out of these shelters and getting those opportunities. And it needs to start with the Biden administration on down to fix it.
There's no system, Judge. That's always been the case.
You know what? We talked in the block before this about, you know, the mob people who are coming in and with these retailers and destroying cases because this is like a mob. They decide how they're going to handle this. What I'm trying to say is this. The United States is nothing more than a global landing spot with benefits. And when they come here for the American dream, they're not coming here for the American dream the way your father did or my mother and father did or any of us at the table, because only 2% of the 140,000 migrants in New York City have even applied for a work permit. And it may be that there are so many of them, but that's Joe Biden's fault, okay? These people come in for asylum. Asylum is only when you have a credible fear of being prosecuted in your home country, not if you're poor, not because you think the American dream. That doesn't get you here. And let me just say this. If these people who have been taken out to his designated location in Brooklyn don't like it and they want to come back to the Manhattan, to the Roosevelt, pay your own way. And if you want to go home, pay your own way. And by the way, maybe you shouldn't be allowed to go home until you pay us for what we've paid for your food, your education, your medication, your health care, money for food and everything else. You know, this isn't like with the Louisiana Purchase. You know, everybody came here because you could get an acre of land for 4 cents. Or with the California, the gold rush. I mean, there were 300,000 people who went to California because they want to make gold. Or after the Civil War, 40 acres and a mule, everybody gets one. No, this is a competitive work market. And if you want to work, you can achieve the American dream, but they don't want to work.
You know, Jesse, if you are, you know, come out against this, you lack compassion.
It's
never been a problem for you.
Never been a problem for me, Greg.
Or me.
Kamala Harris said these migrants were coming because of climate change. Mm-hmm. It was too hot in Latin America. It gets to be 50 degrees, and they're like, we're going back. Maybe they're snowbirds, Greg.
Yeah.
Maybe they're just summering in Chicago, and they're wintering in Venezuela, right? You know, Biden paid for their flights, their buses. Yep. Why not? And the ones in New York, I'm with the judge. You can't stay at a $500 a night Midtown hotel for free for a year where we do your laundry and we make your dinners, and then we get a place in Brooklyn and they don't want to borough?
Yeah.
Oh, so sorry, Brooklyn is not good enough for you? Oh, because it's too far away from your work? Well, really? Because only 2% of you are applying for work permits? What work? Is it too far away from the schools? Well, you can learn about CRT in Brooklyn, too. American people are very generous, but we also don't like when people are ungrateful. And we're feeling that they're a little ungrateful, Greg. And I don't like it.
You shouldn't like it, Jesse. As a paragon of gratitude, you are very upset. All right, coming up, Kamala Harris says we should start listening to the radical anti-Israel protesters. Interesting.
Hey, Sean Hannity here. Hey, click here to subscribe to Fox News YouTube page and catch our hottest interviews and most compelling analysis. You will not get it anywhere else.